Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm going to be going over the major businesses in Greece. So first, I'll go over the difference between GDP and GNP. GDP is gross domestic product, as most of you already know. It measures the level of production within a specific country, regardless of who owns the business. GNP is gross national product, and it refers to the level of production of any person or corporation of a specific country. So an example of this difference is how many US companies, they do their manufacturing in China. So this manufacturing activity contributes to China's GDP, but not their GNP. It actually contributes to the US's GNP. So GDP deals with location, while GNP deals with the nationality of the company. In 2013, Greece's GDP was 242 billion, while their GNP was 284 billion. So there's a difference of about 40 billion, and that means that a good amount of Greek production takes place outside of Greece. So that's similar to how the US works. I just want to point this out because I'll be using GDP and GNP interchangeably, depending on the data I was able to get. So this is a Greek GDP decomposition. Greece is a developed country with an overall GDP of 242 billion. The majority of Greece's GDP comes from the services sector at 80%, and that's in the magenta. Agriculture in green is at 3.7%, and industry in yellow at 16.5%. So here's a quick comparison of GDP decomposition. Greece's composition is fairly similar to that of the United States. The industry sector is slightly lower, but agriculture is higher. I also have Germany and China in there. You can see that they're much more heavy in the industry sector and lower in services. So next we have economic sectors, the definition of them. So primary sector is the retrieval and production of raw materials. The secondary sector is the transformation of raw or intermediate materials into goods. And the tertiary sector is the supply of services to consumers and businesses. So one major business in the primary sector is agriculture. Agriculture contributes 16 billion, or roughly 3.8% of Greece's GDP, and employs 12.4% of the country's labor force. In Greece, agriculture is based on small-sized family-owned dispersed units with very few co-op organizations. That's pretty different from the United States, where we have a lot of commercial farms. And in 2010, Greece was the EU's largest producer of cotton and pistachios. They ranked second in the production of rice and olives, third in the production of figs and almonds, tomatoes and watermelons, and fourth in the production of tobacco. So you can see that Greece's agriculture is a major contributor in Europe. Another primary sector business is fishery. So in 2007, Greece accounted for 19% of the EU's fishing haul in the Mediterranean Sea. They ranked third with 85,500 tons of fish caught, and they ranked first in the number of fishing vessels in the Mediterranean between EU members. As for the secondary sector, Greece's largest industrial employers are manufacturing, construction, and mining. This table shows the top 10 industries in Greece along with their contribution to GNP, both as a nominal value and percentage of the total GNP. So you can see at the top we have cement, pharmaceuticals, soft drinks. Most things look pretty normal here. I guess cheeses stand out a little bit. It's on there like twice. But yeah, in total, the top 10 secondary sector industries add up to 19.1 billion, or 6.73% of their GNP. In the tertiary sector, we have shipping. Shipping has traditionally been a key sector in the Greek economy since ancient times. Greece has the largest merchant navy in the world, accounting for more than 15% of the world's total deadweight tonnage. They're ranked fourth in the world by number of ships, right behind China, Japan, and Germany. In 2011, shipping accounted for an estimated 18.9 billion, or 6% of Greek GDP, and employs about 160,000 people, which is 4% of the workforce. And they had roughly 750 Greek shipping companies in operation. Another tertiary sector business is tourism. They account for a huge percent, 18.2% of Greece's GDP. The number of jobs directly or indirectly related to tourism were 840,000 in 2008, and that represented 19% of the country's total labor force. And in 2014, Greece attracted 24.5 million tourists with average tourist expenditures of $1,073. Greece is considered the most visited country in Europe, with 2 out of 3 people being tourists. Roughly 75% of all tourist visits happen between May and September. Attractions include Greece's rich and long history along with the Mediterranean coastline and beaches. And Greece hosted the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens. And since then, they've actually greatly improved their tourism infrastructure. So the past 10 years, tourism has really been booming there. And this is a summary of the major industries in Greece. So their largest GDP or GNP contributor is tourism with 18.2%, industrial functions at 6.7%, shipping at 6%, and agriculture at 3.8%. And this pretty much falls in line with the fact that Greece is a developed country with an economy primarily based on the service sector. Thanks.